I see through you. That's what he said. Standing across from me in that sterile conference room, his voice steady, his eyes empty of emotion. I'd just finished my presentation. 20 slides, 40 minutes of research. I thought I'd won. But he didn't argue. He didn't debate. He simply said those 4 words and walked out. The room went silent. My colleagues looked at their phones. The deal collapsed within a week. I spent months trying to understand what happened. I replayed every sentence, every gesture, every tactical move I'd made. And then it hit me. I'd been playing chess while he was rewriting the rules of the board. That moment taught me something most people never learn. Intelligence isn't what they told you it was. You've been lied to your entire life about what intelligence means. They gave you tests. They gave you grades. They told you intelligence was a number, a score, a credential hanging on your wall. They said it was about memorization, about speed, about how quickly you could solve equations or recite facts. But that was never intelligence. That was performance. That was obedience dressed in academic robes. Real intelligence is something darker, something they don't teach in classrooms because classrooms exist to prevent you from discovering it. Intelligence is leverage. It's the ability to see what others cannot see, to move when others are paralyzed, to remain still when others are thrashing. It's the capacity to impose your will upon reality before reality imposes its will upon you. And there's a hierarchy to it, a ladder that most people never even realize exists. 7 levels, 7 stages of cognitive evolution that separate the powerless from the powerful, the blind from the seeing, the sheep from the wolves. Most people live and die on the first rung. They think they're making choices, but they're running a script written by someone else decades before they were born. Today, you're going to see exactly where you stand on this ladder. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. The faces around you will change. You'll notice the strings. You'll see the silence in their eyes. The question is whether you're ready to look. The first level is the sleeper. Walk through any city during rush hour and you'll see them everywhere. Faces blank, eyes distant, moving in patterns they didn't choose, toward destinations they didn't select. The sleeper is not stupid. He might have a degree. He might hold a respectable job. He might be able to discuss literature or code software. But functionally, he is asleep. His intelligence is purely reactive. He doesn't act. He is acted upon. The alarm rings. He wakes. The boss commands. He obeys. The news speaks. He believes. The advertisement flashes. He buys. He thinks his opinions belong to him. But press him on why he believes what he believes, and he crumbles. He'll repeat something he heard on social media. He'll echo a sentiment his parents installed in him as a child. He is a vessel, a container for other people's thoughts. The sleeper lives in an external locus of control. Everything that happens to him is someone else's fault. The economy, the government, his circumstances, his luck. He drifts down a river he refuses to navigate. Psychologically, the sleeper is terrified of autonomy. Freedom feels like a burden. If you gave him total freedom, he would panic. He craves structure. He craves a master. He wants to be told what is good, what is bad, and what he should do next. This is why the sleeper is obsessed with consensus. He needs to know what the majority thinks before he feels safe thinking it. He checks the comments before forming an opinion. He looks at trends before making choices. His greatest fear isn't being wrong. His greatest fear is standing alone. These are the background characters in history. They fill space. They make noise, but they leave no mark. They are batteries that power systems built by higher levels of intelligence. They consume, they produce, and then they are replaced. If you're at this level, the pain you feel, that nagging sense that your life is not your own, isn't depression. It's reality breaking through the fog, and when a sleeper wakes, he doesn't become wise and he becomes loud and he enters level 2. The mimic has realized the world is a game. He's discovered that intelligence is currency that buys respect, status, validation, but he doesn't have his own mind yet, so he steals the minds of others. The mimic is the person at dinner parties using words he doesn't fully understand. He's the activist who adopts the latest cause not from conviction, but from the need to signal virtue. He reads summaries, never the source material. He quotes philosophers he's never studied. At level 2, intelligence is performance. It's theatre. The mimic collects credentials like trophies, degrees, certifications, titles. He needs you to know he's smart. He needs the applause. This is the most dangerous level for your ego because at level 2, you feel superior to the sleepers. You look down on them. You think you're awake, but you're not awake. You're just dreaming a different dream. The mimic is trapped in the space between knowing and understanding. He knows just enough to think he's an expert, but not enough to realize the depths of his ignorance. He believes that if he looks like a leader, he is a leader. If he sounds like a philosopher, he is a philosopher. But probe deeper. Challenge him. Ask him to solve a novel problem. Ask him to build something from nothing. He panics because he cannot create. He can only copy. He is an echo. The tragedy of the mimic is his addiction to external validation. His entire sense of worth hangs on the approval of the class he aspires to join. He's terrified of being exposed as a fraud. This makes him rigid. It makes him aggressive when questioned. If you constantly try to prove you're right, if you memorize arguments to win debates rather than seeking truth, you're stuck here. You're a parrot, colourful, loud, capable of speech, but incapable of thought. I've watched thousands of people reach this channel, searching for wisdom, and most of them never move past level 2. They collect the ideas like stamps but never apply them. They perform intelligence but never embody it. If that describes you, if you're still performing for an invisible audience instead of building real power, then maybe this is the moment you choose to stop pretending. Subscription isn't about supporting a channel. It's about declaring to yourself that you're done being a mimic. But most won't. Most will keep collecting without transforming. The darkness begins when you stop performing and start observing reality as it actually is. That's when you reach level 3. The calculator. The calculator has dropped the need for validation. He no longer cares if people think he's smart. He cares about winning. This is the first level of true agency. The calculator looks at the world, at laws and morals and social contracts, and realizes they're not absolute truths. They're arbitrary rules, and rules can be bent. He sees traps. He understands incentive structures. He looks at his boss, his partner, his government, and asks 3 questions. What do they want? What are they afraid of? How can I use this? Level 3, intelligence is transactional. It's cold. It's strategic. The calculator is effective. He climbs not by working hardest, but by maneuvering smartest. He knows who to flatter and who to ignore. He knows when to speak and when to remain silent. But the calculator is often lonely. When you view every interaction as a transaction, you kill the human element. You begin viewing people as chess pieces. And while this makes you powerful, it also makes you paranoid. The calculator constantly watches his back because he assumes everyone else is calculating too. He projects his own cunning onto the world. He trusts no one. This is the trap of level 3. You become a prisoner of your own strategy. You're so busy playing the game that you forget to live. You're efficient, but you're hollow. Many successful people stop here. NGOs, politicians, entrepreneurs, they have money, they have status, but they have no peace. They're trapped in perpetual scanning for threats and opportunities. They're the smartest person in the room, but they're still reacting to the room. They're still playing within a system someone else built. They're winning the game, but they're not free of it. To rise higher, you must stop merely looking out for yourself. You must become a force of nature. The operator transcends calculation. He adds a new element: will. The calculator tries to navigate the world safely. The operator tries to shape the world through force of personality and competence. This is the level of command. The operator doesn't just see the chess pieces, he moves them with conviction. He's not afraid of conflict. He thrives in it. He's willing to make the hard decisions that lower levels are too terrified to make. He accepts the burden of responsibility. At this level, intelligence becomes generative. You're not just exploiting existing opportunities, you're creating new ones through your ability to execute. People follow the operator not because he manipulates them, but because he represents order in chaos. He has vision and the discipline to march toward it, dragging everyone with him if necessary. But the operator has a fatal flaw: visibility. He stands at the front. He takes credit, but he also takes blame. He's a target. His power is tied to his physical energy. If he gets sick, the empire crumbles. If he shows weakness, the wolves attack. The operator is exhausted. He carries the weight of the world. He thinks he's the king, but he's actually the highest paid servant. He's a slave to his own ambition. He thinks power is about doing, about controlling, about being seen. He hasn't learned the ultimate lesson, that the most dangerous things in the universe are the ones you cannot see. Now we enter the deep waters, the levels that aren't taught in schools, the levels the moralists warn against. Level 5 is the puppeteer. The puppeteer has realized that direct control is inefficient. It creates resistance. If you push someone, they push back. If you order someone, they resent you. But if you make them want to do what you want them to do, you own them. This is soft power. This is influence. The puppeteer doesn't stand on the podium. He stands in the shadows behind it. He whispers in the ear of the lion. He understands the deepest layers of human psychology. He knows humans are driven by desire and fear. He doesn't fight reality. He seduces it. The puppeteer creates narratives. He engineers situations where the outcome is inevitable, yet everyone feels they made a free choice. He's the master of plausible deniability. If a project fails, his name is nowhere on it. If it succeeds, he reaps the reward. He operates through intermediaries. He uses sleepers, mimics, calculators, even operators as his limbs. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. The puppeteer lives by this principle. He's a shapeshifter. He becomes whoever he needs to be to get what he wants. He has no fixed identity. To the sleeper, he's a friend. To the operator, he's a loyal advisor. To the calculator, he's a business partner. None of them realize they're being steered. But level 5 comes with a terrible price: dissociation. When you spend your life wearing masks, you forget what your face looks like. When you view every interaction as a psychological operation, you lose the ability to connect. The puppeteer is powerful, but he's a ghost. He walks through the world, but is not of it. He looks at humanity with the detachment of a scientist observing bacteria. He can predict them. He can control them. But he cannot be one of them. This is the lonely peak of manipulation. Most dark psychologists stop here. They think this is the summit. They think being the invisible hand is ultimate power. But they're wrong. Because the puppeteer is still playing the game. He's still manipulating pieces. He's still reacting to the board. The true master doesn't play the game. The true master builds the casino. The architect doesn't manipulate people. He designs environments. He understands that human behavior is a function of environment. If you want people to walk a certain way, you don't ask them. You don't trick them. You build a hallway. The architect builds the hallway. He creates systems, ideologies, corporations, algorithms, religions, nations. He sets the rules of the game that all the lower levels are fighting over. While the calculator is trying to steal a grape, and the operator is fighting for the bunch, and the puppeteer is convincing someone to give him grapes, the architect owns the vineyard. This is systemic intelligence. The ability to think in second, third, and fourth order consequences. The architect thinks in decades and centuries, not quarters. He's detached from individual battles because he's rigged the war. Think of the creators of social media platforms. They're architects. They don't care what you argue about. They don't care which side wins. They built the arena. They profit from the noise. They profit from the conflict. The architect is not evil. He's not good. He's inevitable. He looks at chaos and sees patterns. He sees the code behind reality and rewrites it. To reach level 6, you must abandon the desire for personal glory. You must abandon the desire for control over individuals. You must fall in love with structure. You must become a student of civilization. You must understand economics, psychology, history, physics, and weave them into a single vision. The architect is rare. Maybe 1 in 10 million reaches this level. They're the names that survive history. Not the kings who fought the wars, but the minds that designed the systems that made the wars necessary. But even the architect isn't the final level. Because the architect is still attached to his creation. He still cares if the system works. He still has ego, even if it's projected into his work. If his system collapses, he suffers. There is one level higher, a level that is almost inhuman. The final level of intelligence isn't about adding more. It's about subtraction. It's the void. At level 7, you stop being the player. You stop being the designer. You become the silence. This is the state of total internal sovereignty. The void has mastered the ultimate trait: complete emotional and psychological detachment from the external world. He owns nothing, yet possesses everything. He has no fear because he has no attachment. You cannot threaten a man who doesn't care if he lives or dies. You cannot bribe a man who desires nothing you have. You cannot manipulate a man who has no ego to stroke. The void looks at the architect's systems, the puppeteer's schemes, the operator's wars, the calculator's tricks, and he smiles. He sees it all as theatre, a cosmic play. This isn't nihilism. Nihilism is despair. This is transcendence. The void operates with perfect clarity because his vision isn't clouded by desire. He does exactly what's necessary, nothing more, nothing less. He's like water. You try to grasp him, and he slips through your fingers. You try to cut him, and he reforms. You try to burn him, and he turns to steam, only to rain down on you later. Half of our lives are governed by fate, and the other half by will. The void has aligned his will with fate. He doesn't fight the current. He becomes the current. In Eastern philosophy, this is the Tao. In Stoicism, this is the sage. In the darkness of strategy, this is the ultimate predator. Because if you encounter a man at level 7, you are helpless. You cannot read him. You cannot predict him. He reflects whatever you project onto him. He's a mirror. If you look into him, you only see yourself. He can descend to level 4 to lead an army, then ascend back to the void. He can play the calculator at a negotiation, then return to silence. He uses the other levels as tools, but he doesn't live there. He lives in the fortress of his own mind. A fortress with no doors. This is ultimate freedom. Freedom from the need to be somebody. And paradoxically, this is where the greatest power lies, because the man who needs nothing commands everything. Now the mirror is in front of you. Where do you rank? Be honest. The lie you tell yourself is the most expensive lie you'll ever buy. Are you a sleeper, drifting, reacting, waiting for permission to live? Are you a mimic, seeking applause, memorizing quotes, pretending to understand? Are you a calculator, trapped in the rat race, paranoid, transactional, lonely? Are you an operator, exhausted, carrying the weight of the world, a target for everyone? Are you a puppeteer, hiding in shadows, losing your soul to the masks you wear? Are you an architect, building systems, obsessed with legacy? Or are you approaching the void? Most of you are oscillating between level 2 and level 3. You're smart enough to know the game exists, but you're still seeking validation or trapped in transaction. That's acceptable. Awareness is the first step of ascent. But understand this. The system is designed to keep you down. School is designed to make you a sleeper. University is designed to make you a mimic. The corporate ladder is designed to keep you a calculator. They don't want architects, and they're terrified of the void. If you want to climb, you have to go against the grain of your entire biological and social programming. You have to kill the part of you that wants to be liked. You have to kill the part of you that wants to be safe. You have to accept that intelligence isn't about being nice. It's not about being right. It's about being effective. It's about seeing the code. So, how do you move up? You don't climb by adding more information. You climb by removing illusions. To move from sleeper to mimic, you must wake up to the value of knowledge. To move from mimic to calculator, you must stop caring what people think and start caring what works. To move from calculator to operator, you must develop courage and take responsibility. To move from operator to puppeteer, you must learn subtlety and psychology. To move from puppeteer to architect, you must learn systems thinking and patience. To move from architect to the void, you must let go of everything. It's a long road. It's a dark road. Most people turn back. They prefer the comfort of the herd. It's warm in the middle of the flock. It's cold on the mountain. But the view is different. When you stand at the top looking down at the masses, you realize that all the stress, all the drama, all the politics, all the noise, it was all just a game. A game you no longer have to play. You can just watch. And in that watching, you find the only thing that matters: power over self. There's a barrier most of you will hit. It's the wall between level 3 and level 4. Between the calculator and the operator. You'll be smart. You'll be successful. You'll be a clever fox. But you'll always be afraid of the wolves. You'll never become the lion. You'll never build the empire. Why? Because you still believe in the rules. You think that if you're smart enough, the rules will protect you. They won't. The secret to breaking through requires a fundamental fracture in your moral programming. You have to be willing to do the one thing society tells you is unforgivable. I can't explain it fully here. The algorithm won't allow it. The sleepers would report it. It's too sharp for public consumption. But here's what I can tell you. Power isn't given. It's taken. And the moment you realize that every moral constraint you've been taught is simply a control mechanism designed to keep you in your place, that's when you break through. That's when you stop asking permission and start making decisions. That's when you stop waiting for the world to be fair and start making it bend. Most people never make this leap. They spend their lives playing by rules that don't apply to the people above them. They stay safe. They stay small. They stay powerless. And they convince themselves that staying powerless is the same as being good. It isn't. Goodness without power is just weakness with a halo. It's surrender dressed in virtue. It's slavery with a smile. The world doesn't reward the good. It rewards the effective. It rewards those who see what must be done and do it without hesitation, without guilt, without the need for validation from those who will never understand. If you've made it this far, you're not like the others. You've glimpsed something most people spend their entire lives running from. The truth that beneath the surface of civilization, beneath the rules and the morals and the polite lies, there's only power and the will to use it. Everything else is decoration. Everything else is theatre to keep the masses comfortable while they're being led. Subscribe if you haven't, but understand what that means. It's not about supporting a channel, it's about acknowledging that you've seen the code and you're choosing not to look away. Most won't. That's always been the point. The masses need their comfort. But you're not the masses anymore. You've climbed too high to go back down. The only question left is how far you're willing to go.